Des Moines Public Schools transports around 10,000 students to and from school every day. It takes a highly organized operation to arrange transportation for all of these students, and we'll talk to a few of the folks who help make that happen. Todd Liston, Transportation Manager for the district, and Gunnar Olson from DART, next on Classroom Connections. Hi, and welcome to Classroom Connections, a public affairs discussion on issues important to students, teachers, and parents in the Des Moines Public Schools. I'm your host, Sarah Taylor. Transportation for our students to and from school must be safe, efficient, and on time. As you can imagine, arranging for this is a huge undertaking, and the district is fortunate to have the help of outside partners. Today, we'll welcome one of the partners, DART, Des Moines Public Transit System, to talk about this ongoing partnership. Joining me are Todd Liston, the district's transportation manager, and Gunnar Olson, public information officer for DART. Todd and Gunnar, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
So Todd, it's a big operation getting kids to school every day, and I'm sure most people don't realize what goes into it. Can you give us an overview of how that's accomplished?
Sure thing, Sarah. It's pretty amazing what we do day in and day out with the number of students that we transport, well over 10,000 to and from school, both on our yellow buses and on the DART buses as well. And then we also have several thousand more students that ride shuttles from the different buildings to different buildings throughout the day. So it's a pretty amazing operation that we have with our yellow buses. Nearly 200 people of drivers and bus associates and mechanics and route specialists all working just to be sure that kids get to and from school. In addition to what we do, we also work with DART to transport middle and high school students to and from school as well. They also help during the day with modified days and some of those different things that don't fit so well for us. So it's a pretty amazing thing. We run nearly 100 yellow buses every day and almost 40 additional DART routes to and from school each day. So it's some days it's controlled chaos. Most days it goes exactly as planned. And you know, every time there's weather or something like that, we realize what we take for granted. But again, our safety and our focus is on the kids getting to and from school every day.
Sure, it's quite impressive. So can you tell me how the partnership between the district and DART came about?
Looking through the history of Des Moines schools, we know that students utilized public transportation to and from school for years in the district. Some of the history books about the district show students riding the trolley cars in downtown, getting to and from school. So, you know, they've been utilizing this transportation for a very long time. The current relationship with DART basically changed to similar to what it is today in 1994. When DART, or back in those days MTA and now DART, started providing transportation to Lincoln and Macomb's students. We supplemented our yellow bus routes with those DART buses that were on the streets and basically had some capacity of time. So it made sense for the taxpayers essentially to utilize that equipment because they had the available capacity. Since 1994, that pilot program was successful. We've expanded that to most of the other middle and high schools throughout the district.
Okay. So Gunnar, can you tell us how the busing service works on DART's end?
Well, the first thing I'd say is that the students are a very important segment of our ridership. They represent many, many riders every single day. And to Todd's point, it just makes a whole lot of sense to share resources as a region when and where we can. And this is a great example of two agencies working together to share those resources. So every day, DART will put additional buses on the streets as deviations from regular routes. So we'll have a 7A, for example. And so it'll run in part on the regular route and pick up other customers, but for the most part, it's there to go and pick up students closer to their homes and deliver them direct to the schools. So as Todd mentioned earlier, there's about 40 of these routes, and they're all over the, all throughout the metro, taking students to school.
Wow. And I understand there's a new program through DART for students. Can you tell us about that program?
Right. In the past, students have had to have a sticker on their student ID that they can get from a school district in order to ride the bus to school. Todd might be able to speak to the parameters of those, but more or less the DART buses are made available to students who are a certain distance away from the school. If they're so close, then I think they end up walking or taking the yellow bus. But if they're far enough away, then they can acquire a sticker for their passes and ride the DART to school that way. And what we found was that there was a lot of students who didn't fit that criteria, who really wanted to be able to use DART to get to school. And so what we've done is create a program where any student, not just in Des Moines, but any student in Polk County who's in middle school or high school can present their school ID at one of our pass sales outlets and buy a bus pass at reduced cost, approximately half off.
Okay, so Todd, can you tell us how this will benefit the students then?
Absolutely. It's a good deal for our students, especially here in Des Moines. For years, we know that our parents and students had looked for a reduced fare pass program for DART. We have our structure in place for the eligible students that utilize DART to and from school on our school routes. That's a structure in place to ensure those kids, again, that are eligible receive that transportation. The other part of that was those students that aren't eligible for free transportation by state code or by district policy. And essentially that's kind of a discretionary area for us, but it's still parent responsibility. In the past there's been discussions about parents not being able to afford the full fare passes, and so this new program with the reduced fare will be fantastic for our families.
And I can reiterate Todd's point here. We hear very often from parents who say, I can't afford a bus pass. And so this has been on the wish list of DART's customer service for a long time. So we're really pleased to be able to finally have it available.
Well, wonderful. So also DART is going through an expansion of services this year. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Right, yeah. Public transit is undergoing kind of an evolution in Greater Des Moines, and we're seeing it in many different ways. Some people have probably seen the new DART Central Station going up downtown. That's just one embodiment of the expansion. Over the last year, we've undertaken to redesign the entire transit system to bring it up to what the region needs today, not just have buses where they've always been. And we're going to begin seeing the redesigned network being implemented in the coming year. So we're going to have buses going to more places more often and with faster travel times. And the ultimate goal is to build a truly regional system that covers not only Des Moines but the entire metro area, and to make it easier for people, including students, to get around the metro without having to rely on a car. We are finalizing all the changes, and we'd like to invite the public out to a series of public meetings in the first week of February, the first full week of February, where we're going to be presenting the actual routes and asking for input before the designs are finalized.
Okay. Well, Todd and Gunnar, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks
for having us.
And thank you for joining us. Don't forget, this and all other Classroom Connections episodes are available on our website. For Classroom Connections, I'm Sarah Taylor. Thanks for watching.